Hi, I'm Sheila Walsh, Program Coordinator of the Radio Humber Diploma Program here at Humber College. Welcome to On the Radio, a webisode feature where we speak with industry experts and Humber alumni on all things radio. Today, I speak with Dave Cockram. Okay, we are back in RBD 312 class, and we have just heard the wisdom from this gentleman here, Dave Cockram, who's the production manager from Indie 88, everybody. Yay! So you came in to speak about your experiences in radio, and you said you've been in the business, well, I guess you started as a co-op student and kind of launched right into radio, your journey took you into a sound design course, which I want to talk about first of all. But I wanted to say I really appreciate your attitude. I think it's pretty refreshing. Don't you think his approach to things is really refreshing? And what I mean by that is, like, you said a lot of interesting things. You said, do what everyone else does, but do it your own way. And a good producer understands what fits and why. So tell me a little bit about how your approach differs from, pretty much every other producer out there.
I'm not necessarily sure my approach is that different. I think all producers think like that. They don't want to do the same thing everyone else is doing. I'm just one of the people fortunate enough to work at a place where they allow me to do that. So I think that's the bigger thing. I think, not to go on a rant, but I think radio stations need to reinvent themselves and say, like, we've done the same thing for like a gajillion years. And I'm sure you guys talk to a lot of your friends who don't even listen to the radio. And, there's new ways to reach people. It's called the internet. There's more to audio than just cutting IDs and cutting commercials. Content needs to be created. Someone's got to do it. So saddle up. Let's go.
You were saying you on one hand, you're the person who produces a lot of the stuff that people switch stations for when it comes on. You understand that. So you're, to further your idea, you're talking about a different way of content creation and delivery. And one of them you mentioned was micro promotions or promos. Can you just talk a little bit about that?
Sure. We just we try to not bombard people with information that they can get online. We just want to tell them what we do and point them towards the internet. We still do longer promos. We try to make them more theatric or at least interesting. But if it's something simple like just a website promo or a concert promo, hey, we got a bunch of concert listings. They're on the internet. Boom, done. Simple, less is more. We want to take that mentality as well.
And the tools you use are different. You have your own digital music library that you have actually constructed from way, way back. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, when I first went out west, I spent a lot of time. I actually found I had a lot of time as a commercial producer to build a library. So I would literally bring in my own DVDs. I would rip certain sounds and certain sound bites I thought I could use for certain promos. And I would lay them out, categorize them, put them in folders, name them, and basically just become a digital pack rat. And now, 14 years later or whatever, 13, I don't know, who's counting. And I have a hard drive full of things that I can pull resources from. Every splitter I create, every promo I create, I mute the voice and I mix it down. So it's just sound effects and music. And so if I ever need to do a project and I have no time, well, I've got a giant library of things I've already produced. You bring it in and it's half done. So there's all sorts of ways you can archive sounds and use things later. Save everything. Don't throw anything out. Yeah,
that's a huge payoff for you. So back to how you started. You started as a co-op student in a radio station. You went into radio. Then you went back to school a few years ago and went into sound design because, as you said, you would hear something in your head and you didn't know how to do it. So I applaud you on that. Being in education, that's always a good thing. So talk to me about how that enhanced your role as a producer. If people are exploring those aspects of further development, professional development, how did sound design help develop yours?
Well, I think you guys learn everything you need to know in school on how to do the job as a producer in a radio station. 90% of what you do will be voiceover music. It's not that hard. I can do it. I didn't go to university, so you guys will be fine. But when it comes to doing something that I guess is a little out of the ordinary, or you hear something, or like, how do I mix a song? How do I mix a movie? How do I create a robot voice? These are things that you'll think about because you may get asked from time to time to do them. And I'm like, man, I don't know. You just reach this sort of creative block, or this, maybe it's an educational block. I'm like, I don't know. I don't really have any formal training. All my training's been hands-on. I need to figure out how to do this. And you can do it on YouTube. You can go, hey, I need a vocoder tutorial for Reason, and probably find it. But at the end of the day, for me, I chose to go back to school because, number one, I need the structure of a program. And number two, after I cut commercials all day, the last thing I want to do is go home and watch a bunch of YouTube videos on how to be a producer. I want to make dinner and watch Anchorman or whatever, right? So I decided to go back to school, suck it up, and go back to school. So,
And $27,000 later.
scholarship. Thanks for the $7,000.
And you've had the experience of working for the big corporation and now a smaller organization, which is Indie and based out of Barrie. So tell me a little bit about the dynamic and the difference and maybe pros and cons.
Pros to corporate radio.
Okay, let's move on.
I'm just kidding. I learned a ton out west, and I worked with a lot of great people. But of course, like if you need something to get done, it takes forever. There's oh gosh, I got to be careful what I say here. You got to be careful in corporate radio because God, I don't know.
Let's talk about
let's talk about the benefits
the benefits
to
of
working.
slow radio.
I'm a bit of a hippie. I don't know if the cardigan gave it away or the beard, but I prefer to work for a family. And there's definitely a sense of community that I've not experienced anywhere else in radio. And it's just a bunch of people who want to do good work, and hopefully people catch on. And I think that's the mentality. And I love my job. I made a lot of great things out west. I really learned what the heck I was doing out west. I had the best of times and the worst of times out there. But I don't know. It's very weird. It's very weird, and it's sometimes hard to put into words where I am right now. But I don't know. I'm very grateful. And as I said earlier, like I didn't think I was going to get out of Barrie, let alone Vancouver. So this is all sort of new and interesting.
And my last question is, what is Max Scoundrel? Your name is Dave Cockram.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I'm a big fan of stage names because I have such a obtrusive last name. So my first radio air name when I was on the air, I'm like, what can be more ridiculous than Dave Cockram? And I'm like, Stoolie McMuffin. And I'm like, I know my on-air name is Stoolie McMuffin. And they're like, okay. I'm like, okay. So my friends and I would mess around and make remixes and mashups and stuff. And our band name was the Galactic Scoundrels. So I'm just like, no, my name's Max Scoundrel. And it's so ridiculous. I don't even think it's that cool. I just think I just like stage names.
Now we know the history.
It started with the Ramones. Yeah. Johnny, Joey, and all those crazy kids. Get a stage name, kids. It's cool.
All right, Dave Cockram, everybody. Thank you so much, Dave.